Hey everybody, Chad from Just Add Wood here. Today we're going to do something slightly different, but still along the vein of DIY project. I want to get my logo onto my new slat wall behind me. So I've installed some slat wall in my garage to get some better organization and to hold some tools that would otherwise be taking up all my horizontal spaces. What I want to do is project my logo onto the wall behind me. Now I've contacted several manufacturers that do, large vinyl prints, large stickers, poster size prints and that sort of thing. It's prohibitively expensive for me, and my logo, which I created myself, is not of such a high resolution that it can be blown up into large scale prints. So what we're going to do today is project my logo up onto the wall. Now for those of you old enough to remember back in school when your teacher wheeled in the projector machine and she would put a clear transparency on there and it would project the image on the board for everybody to follow along. We're going to do something very similar using slightly different products and a little modern twist on it. Follow along. So what I want to do is turn this logo, actually I have a full color logo, but what I've done is I've gone back into the software that I created the logo in, which is freeware. It's paint.net, but I don't use Adobe Photoshop. So paint.net it was, and I've taken the full color logo and stripped it of all color and just left it an outline. Using a product available on Amazon, I bought some laser printer transparency films, and I'll link all this stuff below. But using the transparencies and getting the print how I want it and making a bunch of test prints on plain paper, I have transferred my logo onto a transparency. Now to duplicate the machine that our dear teachers used to wheel into the room to project images onto the wall, I'm just using a cardboard box. So I've taken a cardboard box that's slightly larger than my print, and I've cut out an area larger than my image, and I've taped my transparency to the end of the box. All I'm going to do is take out my mobile phone or some other flashlight, and I'm going to mount the light in the box and project it on the wall, and I'll show you what that looks like. So for best results, I did darken the room, but what you're seeing here, take your cardboard box with your transparency on the end and you hold it up against the wall just a few feet away and you put your light inside the box. And what you'll be able to see from doing this is as you move the light in and out of the box, you can adjust the picture as well as moving the box closer and farther away from the wall. So once you get the scale and the dimension that you're looking for, then you set the box down, you mount your light source into the box so it doesn't move. One of the biggest things is you really want to make sure your image doesn't move while you're trying to trace it on the wall. So once I get this to where I want it, I'm going to mount it permanently or at least more securely. I'm going to start tracing it on the wall. So what I think I'm going to do to mount my transparency box securely to project it on the wall for long enough for me to trace it is use this old construction light tripod that I've had leaning in a corner for years and rarely ever use it. You could use a ladder, you could use a stack of empty cardboard boxes, you could use any number of ways to get your transparency where you want it to project it on the wall. So I'm just going to take these lights off of this tripod because it has a nice wide bar on it here at the top and mount my box to this bar.
And again, I'm using a tripod because I happen to have one handy. You could totally use a workbench or a ladder or anything to hold your transparency box at the height that you need for your picture. The big thing is you just don't want it to move once you start tracing. Follow me around to the back side of the box here and I'll show you how I mounted my light. I just bent up an old scrap piece of license plate to help hold the box to the tripod. That metal adds a little support, and I also needed a way to mount the phone inside the box. So I added a couple of bends to the license plate to hold the light in place, because in addition to the box not moving once you start tracing, you also don't want your light to move inside the box once you start tracing. I did pop a couple extra holes in there in case this thing got off balance. I could move the box forward or backwards on my tripod. And once I had the image at the height I wanted, I measured left to right, top to bottom by moving the tripod in and out and up and down to get the image exactly where I wanted it. And speaking of images, not shown, but we tried all sorts of different lights. I have some LED mag lights. I have some incandescent mag lights. I have some LED shop lights. And ultimately what worked best was a single LED output from my phone, from the flash on my phone. The work lights that had multiple LEDs really scattered the image. The center barrel in a mag light that you can use to adjust the beam of the light really distorted the image. So the cell phone light really worked out to be the best light to use for the whole process. And from then on out, it's just a matter of tracing the image on the wall. To that end, you want to make sure your battery has a full charge, or at least where your phone is in the box is repeatable in case you have to take the phone out of the box to charge it. So once all that's done, then you just trace the image on the wall. And once it's traced on the wall, you can stand back and review your work. Once the image is completely outlined, then it just becomes sort of a paint by number project. If you know your logo or your image's colors, then you just sort of paint inside the lines. You don't have to have a crazy talented artist wife like I do. It certainly helps, but it's not a requirement, because at this point it really is just a paint by number. And once you think you've got the entire picture traced out onto the wall, you can turn the lights on and stand back and inspect your work. And if you're satisfied with it, you can turn the light off in the box and move it out of the way and get ready for paint. We're going to be using acrylic paints for this because it's appropriate for this surface. You're going to want to use whatever kind of paints are appropriate for the surface you're projecting on. And then once that's done, your two-car garage is going to look a whole lot more like a makerspace with a logo. Look at there. Hey, I finally have a logo on the wall. Fantastic. I really want to thank my wonderfully talented wife for helping paint this. It really is sort of a paint by number kind of project once you have the image traced. But all of that talent certainly helps, and she's a wonderful artist, and I thank her for this. I'm super impressed with the project, from printing your logo on a clear transparency to making a box, projecting it on the wall, tracing it, and painting it. The process really couldn't be simpler, and it doesn't involve high-resolution images and fat head prices for large vinyl graphics and stickers. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed making the video. We thank you for watching. Please leave any comments or questions below. Thumbs up and subscribe if you like this sort of thing as we continue converting my two-car garage into a makerspace. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.